Race 4 of the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series season heads to the final race of the NASCAR Goes West Tour in the desert that will sit home to a track that will once host the NASCAR Championship race later in November, as Inside The Lines RaceDay gets you revved up for the 2020 Fanshield 500 live from the Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. It is a gorgeous day to go racing, 0% chance of rain expected here today with an 8-mile-an-hour wind speed and a cool 73 degrees temperature here at Phoenix. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Inside The Lines RaceDay show. I am your host, Jack Krause, and I'm going to get you set and ready for today's 2020 Fanshield 500 from the Phoenix Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. Before we get into this episode, ladies and gentlemen, guys, if you haven't already, please leave a like on this video and subscribe for more content here on MDK. And also, go down in the comment section, tell me anything that's on your mind regarding with this episode. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and interact with more of my viewers. I want to start doing that in future videos. So guys, if you have any comments, if there's anything on your mind, please tell me in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Now let's jump into the news you need to know. Our first story revolves around Team Penske driver Ryan Blaney. It was announced over the weekend that he has signed a multi-year contract extension with Team Penske to stay with the team for at least 2 more years. Don't know exactly how many years, but we do know it's going to be at least 2 years. Nothing though in the contract stated on if there was any sponsorship extensions like with Body Armor or with Menards or with sponsors like that. Nothing of that was discussed in the report from 𝗏𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗, but we do know Ryan Blaney will be behind the wheel of the number 12 car in the future, at least for the next couple of years. And I say this is a good move. Ryan Blaney has for sure gone on to his best start, I think, of his entire career. 3 races so far, has had the best average finish of any NASCAR Cup Series driver, and is currently leading the points right now. So tremendous start right now for Ryan Blaney, and as a reward, he gets a contract extension with the captain, Roger Penske. Now our next story is more heartwarming, and all of us are just glad to see this. Ryan Newman returns to the track, returns to a NASCAR track for the first time since his Daytona accident back in February. And simple quote, when people were talking about how do you feel, he just said, "I'm lucky to be alive." And I mean, I think all of us can say the same thing. I mean, we are so lucky that he did not suffer any major injuries except just a head injury. We still don't know the extension of that. Newman did say earlier on, at least through a statement from the Roush Fenway president, Steve Newark, that when he will make a press conference, he's going to talk about his injuries. He doesn't want someone else making a statement for him on his injuries. He wants to be the one to personally say that. Again, also no date as to when Newman will be back in the car, but if you watched during practice on Friday, he was having a headset on. He was talking to the team, talking to Ross Chastain. So it is awesome to see that, and hopefully we could see Ryan Newman at the racetrack, at least behind the wheel, very, very soon. Let's take a look now at the playoff standings after 3 races. Yes, I know it's only 3 races, but still we got to talk about it. 23 races ago until the NASCAR playoffs begin. Ryan Blaney currently leading the charge with a 53-point lead. Joe Logano and Alex Bowman second and third. However, those drivers are locked in no matter what. Logano won at Vegas, while Bowman won last weekend at Fontana. Harvick, though, he is tied with Alex Bowman, both 41 points ahead of the cut line. Jimmie Johnson currently to his best start in quite some time, a couple of years. 5th on the grid, 37 points ahead. Chase Elliott, the pole sitter for this race, is in 6th place, 36 points ahead. The Daytona 500 winner, Denny Hamlin, 7th on the grid. Matt DiBenedetto, nice start for him this season, 8th on the grid. Kyle Larson in 9th, and Almirola rounds out the top 10. Good start to the season for the number 17 driver of Chris Buescher. He's tied with Brad Keselowski for the 11th spot, 11 points ahead. Marshall Jr. 13th on the grid, but he's going to start in dead last in this race due to an engine change, 10 points above the cut line. Austin Dillon in 14th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 15th, and Clint Bowyer holds the final spot, 1 point ahead of Bubba Wallace. Eric Jones 3 points behind in the 18th spot, Kyle Busch 5 points behind 19th, and William Byron rounds out the top 20, 10 points behind the cut line. Now let's take a look at the starting grid for today's Fanshield 500. Chase Elliott continues the Hendrick domination from last weekend at Fontana when Hendrick were on their game. Throughout the entire race, Jimmie Johnson and Alex Bowman were out front with Bowman winning the race. Chase Elliott continuing on the Hendrick momentum. He wins the pole for today's event, beating out Kevin Harvick, the dominator at Phoenix, a 9-time winner at that track. That is road number 1. Road 2 has Denny Hamlin. The last time we went to Phoenix, he won that race 2019 of the fall. Kyle Larson to his outside in row 2. Ryan Blaney, the NASCAR Cup Series points leader, and to his outside is Aric Almirola. Row 4 has Kurt Busch and last week's winner Alex Bowman. Row 5 has Matt DiBenedetto and Kyle Busch in a rare Sports Clips Toyota in 10th place. Row 6 has Erik Jones and Joey Logano. Row 7 has Brad Keselowski and Christopher Bell, his best start I believe to this season in 2020. Cole Custer, another rookie, on the inside of row 8. To his outside is William Byron. Row 9 has Clint Bowyer and rookie Stenhouse Jr. Row 10 has Ryan Preece and Jimmy Johnson. Row 11 has Michael McDowell, and another fellow Ford is Chris Buescher. Row 12 has Ross Chastain, still continuing to replace the number 6 car of Ryan Newman, at least for the time being, and Ty Dillon on the outside. Row 13 has rookie John Hunter Nemechek and Bubba Wallace. Row 14 has Corey LaJoie and Tyler Reddick in the 8 car. Row 15 has Austin Dillon in the number 3 and Daniel Suarez in the 96. Brendan Poole and JJ Yeley make up row 16. Rookie Quinn Houff and Reed Sorensen make up row 17. Garrett Smithly and Joey Gase make up row 18. And running out the field is Timmy Hill and Martin Truex Jr. The reason why Martin Truex Jr. is 38, as I said earlier on, he had to make an engine change on Friday after practice. And NASCAR's rules, anytime you make an engine change, no matter what, you will start at the rear of the field. Originally, Truex was going to start 12th, but like I said, with the engine change, he will now start 39th, or 38th, I should say. Let's move on to now, what can we expect from Phoenix? Well, it is the last stop of the NASCAR Goes West Tour. One thing, though, I have noticed is Chevrolet, specifically Hendrick Motorsports, they are back. They were good at Vegas. Chase Elliott had the car to beat until his left rear tire cut down. Last weekend at Fontana, no different. Chevrolet were on their game, specifically with 2 of their Hendrick drivers, Jimmy Johnson, Alex Bowman, with Bowman winning. I see that momentum carrying on to today, except I think it's going to be between Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. Bowman, we know that he can run pretty good here. He nearly won the race back in the fall of 2016 after getting into it with Matt Kenseth and I believe also Kyle Busch there. He had the car to beat, so we know he can run good at his hometown track, and he has a good car today. Chase Elliott has been stout so far this weekend. He's on the pole for this race. He's also run well here in the past. Look at the fall of 2017. Also, he had the car to win until Matt Kenseth came along and took the race win from him. Obviously, you got to look at Kevin Harvick, a 9-time winner at that racetrack. He is going to be really, really good in this race here today, starting on the outside row of outside position of row 1. As we take a look at the odds to win, it's your usual suspects. Kyle Busch, 72 chance, as well as teammate Martin Truex Jr. with a 92 chance. Harvick and Hamlin, both a 6-1 chance. Then you got teammates Logano and Keselowski with a 12-1 chance, as well as Chase Elliott, the pole sitter. Then you got 3 pairs of Chevrolets with Byron Larson and Bowman, last week's winner, all with an 18-1 shot. Erik Jones, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, and Clint Bowyer, as well as Matt DiBenedetto, all with a 40-1 chance. Watch out for Matt DiBenedetto. He's going to be a good one here today. Is starting 9th in this race today. Currently 10th or 9th or 10th, I believe, in the standings right now. Has had a solid start so far to him and his Wood Brothers team. I think that momentum is going to continue on. He had a good run last week at Fontana. He's going to be pretty stout. Going to be in the top 10, I feel like. Now this also, we obviously had to talk about this. This is going to be the first time since 2018 that we're going to see the low spoiler, high downforce, I believe. It's going to be 750 horsepower, I believe, with a low spoiler. I forgot what the exact measurements are. I think it's around 2 inches. So very low spoiler, low splitter, high downforce. That's the first time we saw that since 2018 at Homestead. How will that affect with this race today? Because remember, you spent a full year with a low horsepower, high downforce package, and all of a sudden, whoop, throw in an old package that you might have driven in the past. But when you spend a year, or at least more than a year, with a completely different fit package and then go back to an old package, you might forget, how it works. You might forget how to at least drive with this package. So don't be surprised if you maybe see the suspects that you might expect to see up front might struggle, because some drivers might have struggled with the old package, and so when you revert back to that, they're going to continue on to struggle. You're going to see Martin Truex Jr. just rally his way up to the front. He's been one of those Joe Gibbs drivers that has been on point so far this season, even though Joe Gibbs have had their struggles the past 2 weeks, and struggles, if you want to put quotation marks around that. Truex, even though he's going to start in the back, he's going to move up to the front in a hurry, so watch out for him. I like Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell, he was pretty good in practice. Qualified 14th this race today. He knows how to get the job done at Phoenix. He won, I believe, last year in the Xfinity race in the fall, so he knows how to get the job done at Phoenix. Don't expect him to be in the top 5 or so, but I expect him to flirt around the top 10 to 12th position. I expect to see the number 95 car in. And so far, this has not been the season that Christopher Bell would have liked to have been. Also, as well as fans of his, they're expecting him to perform a lot better. But he's a rookie, give him the benefit of the doubt. Also, Christopher Bell, he has just had every race that he's entered so far, something has happened to him. I feel like if he just get a clean race in, no problems, just run his race to the finish. I think he can have a good run here today. Overall, I really don't know what to expect with this race. I have expectations for certain drivers, but as a race as a whole, in terms of what is the flow of the race gonna be like, I'm not really sure. Again, we haven't raced in a package like this since 2018 at Homestead 2 years ago. For certain drivers, they might not become familiar to it and might have to adjust to it a lot more because they've already set up to get ready for this low horsepower, high downforce package. All of a sudden, boom, here's a flipperoo, here's a complete flip. High horsepower, low downforce. So now I think it's going to provide better racing because that was an issue that we saw last year with tracks like Phoenix. It really provided not good racing. Cars would spread out a lot, and because of this package, whenever cars get spread out, they can't really gain any momentum. Specifically when tracks that require heavy braking, and heavy braking with this package creates a lot slower acceleration, which means you cannot get the run that you would get in the previous package. It created a lot of separation, which in result create a lot of bad racing. I think with this package is gonna fix that. Maybe not overly fix that, or not fix it dramatically or drastically, but I think it's gonna help the racing slightly. So yeah, that's really all the expectations I have for this Phoenix race. I'm not gonna expect much. I expect it to be slightly better than last year's 2 races, but overall, I think you're going to see the same type of racing that we expect to see, specifically at the Phoenix in the spring. We know that Phoenix in the fall, the past couple years, it has provided good racing, but for the spring, not really much has happened. I expect the same thing today. Don't expect a lot of things to happen. But yeah, I think it's going to be overall slightly better than last year's race. Let's take a look at my fantasy live lineup for the Phoenix Raceway here today. I got Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, and Ryan Blaney in my garage, mainly because, these 5 drivers, I think they're going to perform very well. We know how good Kyle Busch is here at Phoenix. He's the last year's winner in terms of the spring race. He's the defending winner at this racetrack. Chase Elliott on the pole. We know how good he is going to be in this race today. Kyle Larson pretty good in the top 10 currently in qualifying right now. Denny Hamlin, last year's winner in the fall, I should say. So he's the defending winner in terms of the last time NASCAR has raced at Phoenix. Kevin Harvick, you have to put him in your lineup at Phoenix. A 9-time winner at that racetrack. He's for sure going to be one not to mess with. And I got Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, I feel like he's been really good. I don't think he's going to have a winning car, but I feel like he's going to be in the mix. So just in case any of my other 5 starters having issues, I know Ryan Blaney is going to get the job done, at least for me, in terms of my points setup. So I got him in the garage as a just in case. I got Chase Elliott winning stage 1, Ryan Blaney winning stage 2 through pit strategy. I feel like Ryan Blaney does have crew chief Paul Wolfe, and we know Paul Wolfe, he has been known for his calls for pit strategy to get points or to just get an advantage. I feel like we're going to get into a long green flag run, and Blaney, I think, is going to win stage 2 through pit strategy with Paul Wolfe at the call. But then overall, I got Chase Elliott winning the race, stage 3, and winning the race. But just in case, I got Ford as my winning manufacturer. But yes, I got Chase Elliott winning today's race, the Fanshield 500, mainly because overall this weekend, he has just been one of, if not the best of the drivers in so far throughout practice. Qualifying, beat out Kevin Harvick by a pretty good amount, I think 1 to 2 tenths of a second. So we know he's got a fast car, and we know how good Chevrolet has been with so far this season. Vegas, Elliott should have won if it wasn't for that tire cutting down last weekend at Fontana. Bowman, Johnson, and we can even throw in Elliott. We're really good. That 100 momentum is going to continue on in this race, and I feel like Chase Elliott is going to get his first victory of 2020 and his first victory at Phoenix Raceway. But yes, that's going to conclude this episode of Inside the Lines Race Day here at the Phoenix Raceway. Tell me, what do you guys think of who do you think is going to win the race, or what do you think is going to happen in this race? Tell me in the comment section down below. Love to hear you guys' thoughts, and I might just air a couple in the next episode as a recap for this race. Of course, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content here on MDK. But also next time, my name is Jack Krause for Inside Lines Race Day, and I'll see you guys at the next video.